Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Button Masher Chat, and it is that time of year. It has been 1 year since I put up my last game room tour video. That was in 2019. We are now in 2020, and I figured it was about time to go through and show you what has happened, what has transpired over the last year. A couple of things to keep in mind. First, you should go check out my 2019 game room tour video, which is linked in the description box below. But after you watch that, keep in mind that I have moved into a house since then, and I have unpacked everything that I own gaming related and displayed it in some form throughout this area that you see behind me right now. So that is where I'm at right now, and we're going to go through same thing like we did last time. We're going to start on one side of the room, sort of go around town. I'm going to go through and I'm going to maybe highlight a couple of games, a couple of cool pickups that I've picked up this year, a couple of things that I've acquired, and maybe at the end of the video I'll talk about a couple of things that I would like to get and what you can sort of expect from the next few months of my channel. So let's not beat around the bush any longer, and let's get right to it. Game Room Tour 2020 happening right now. Let's go! So here we are at the entrance to my game room of 2020 in the new house. And to get in, you've got to go through this weird little stairwell with this little shelf and this spiral staircase, which is strange. But we've got that Fallout 76 helmet, some Destiny stuff, the Halo 5 Guardians Collector's Edition statue, some Destiny poster, more Fallout 76. I thought that was a really cool little map of West Virginia. Wife and I got married in West Virginia, so I thought that was super cool. It kind of glows in the dark, and then it kind of doesn't. Some comic book related stuff here, Death of Superman, that came in that comic. I've always liked that sort of picture, so I framed it. And then this sweet wallpaper. So, I can go down this weird staircase here, and hopefully not fall and die. And once we're downstairs, we get a better look at just some stuff I've got sitting around, really. I'm using a lot of these shelves that were left over from when we moved in. They kind of need to be painted. They're a little junky looking, but as of right now, they work for what I need them to. Some amiibo up there, or some pops, Street Fighter pops. Then some of the stuff that's coming collector's editions, some more figures, pre-order plushie for Conker, which is one of the best sort of pre-order bonuses I think that I've ever had. Which I dig it. Amiibo, more Halo stuff, collector's edition. We'll give you a good sweep around the Amiibo shelf. More of those scattered throughout the room. Small TV, relegated now for mainly just testing out systems whenever I buy them. Order 1866, Darksiders 2 Collector's Edition, some gaming and comic literature, another Amiibo. Just some shelves with some Destiny figures, it looks like, another pop or two, Mothman plushies, some recording equipment in there as well. Cade 6. And this little tiki my brother got me, it's really cool. You turn it around, it's got my my sort of gamer tag on there, the old Ronin, which has been my gamer tag for really about ever now. Got some Infinity Gauntlet action, Elder Wand. I really like this piece here. I found it on clearance at a Barnes & Noble, so I bought both pieces. Infinity Gauntlet. Sweet little Mega Man helmet that came in some sort of a Humble Bundle that I had at one point in time. My E3 passes from years and years ago, mid-2000s, early 2000s. An Atari hat I think my brother-in-law got me. This is sort of where I do the editing and stuff like that. That's my Game Room Tour video from last year, which I'll link to the description below, my YouTube channel. But I don't really stream, but I guess I am set up for it. I used to sort of play around with the streaming, but I just haven't really messed around with it much. So I don't really have any sort of high-class equipment. But it's a decent little corner to kind of like sit in and do some work. My brother got me this Godzilla picture. I like how it looks under the black light. And of course, we've got a few arcade one-up machines. The Marvel Superheroes, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Mortal Kombat. And I had this Aladdin's Castle sign custom made. I did work for Aladdin's Castle for a few years in the late 90s, early 2000s. Definitely one of my more interesting jobs. But the Marvel Superheroes was the last cabinet to come in. It's got, what has it got? Superheroes, X-Men versus Street Fighter. No, just X-Men, Children of the Atom, and the Punisher. And then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has got Turtles, the arcade game, and Turtles in Time. I really like these things. I made another video that I sort of detailed my thoughts on these. But yeah, they are toys. They're not really comparable to the original machines. But for what they are, they're pretty nice. And they're easy to move around. They're not too heavy. I really like them a lot. And they complement the game room fairly well. My wife got me this Mothman thing. I'm slightly obsessed with Mothman. So she got me that right before we got married, actually. Some Starlink ships, along with more amiibo. I really enjoy the Starlink game for the Switch, especially with the Star Fox stuff. And I definitely went through and bought all those ships when they got super cheap. That was a good buy as far as I'm concerned, even though, you know, not many people play anymore. Some more stuff that came in collector's editions. Some more amiibo here. Just a random Shadow Jago figure up there. More collector's edition stuff. I really like that Tekken setup. That's just really cool. Big Tekken fan anyway. Last Guardian. Daemon X Machina. I made a short unboxing video. It was really crappy because it was on my phone, but it was a really hard time getting that collector's edition because I had to import it from Europe because Europe gets a lot of the cool stuff and we miss out on it quite a bit. That Destiny Ghost Candle, I was way too into Destiny at the time and really should have shown more self-control as far as my wallet goes. And then Daemon X Machina, that's the box that the collector's edition came in. Again, I really enjoy that. And we'll go ahead and move up here to sort of the game shelf area. And then I guess one of the first things I want to show you is one of these things that has been in a box for like ever. And it's these woodblock prints I ordered a while back ago. And I can't remember the name of the artist or the website, but I have it on file. I'll put it in the description box below. But this Street Fighter, it's called Battle in the Bathhouse. And it is absolutely incredible. Like, it's one of my favorite things. And I bought it as soon as I saw it. And, you know, it's just been in a roll because I haven't really had a place to put it. And I just, look at the artwork on it. It's great. The sort of like traditional style. And this guy's got a lot of stuff. He's got like Mario and, you know, Metal Gear and all sorts of things like that he's done in this style. Sorry for the glare. That's terrible. But I was glad to finally get a place where I could actually hang these up and get frames for them and stuff like that. So I think that those really sort of complement this area very nicely. But moving along to the actual game shelf, one thing I will mention is that I'm not overly fond of the shelving unit that I have now. When it was in the apartment, it was okay, but now I feel like it's probably not doing what I need it to do. So at some point in time in the near future, I believe that I'm actually going to try to build some shelves or purchase something that's a little bit more, I guess, clean to look at. But here's some limited editions. Some of these you've seen before. Some of these, I think I've spoken about Growlancer. That's a really interesting set that came out with working designs. I've also got some Shovel Knight amiibo here. Bayonetta on Switch, which was actually the European import. A few limited run releases, Night Trap and Golf Story back there, and of course Octopath Traveler. And I guess we can go on down this way and start on these portable section, I guess. Meteos is a game that I picked up. It's a puzzle game. I picked that up recently, or well, within the last year or so. It's a really good game. Think sort of a Tetris-like game, columns, that sort of thing. Still have only one game for the Neo Geo Pocket, and that is Match of the Millennium. I can't remember if I picked up Onimusha Tactics the last time I did a video, but I've got that now. It's a tactics game just set in the Onimusha universe, and I told myself a while ago that I was never going to put carts back on the shelf when they had stickers on them, but it's hard to get off on a Game Boy Advance box, so it is what it is. The Lunar Games, Arc the Lad, and then some other PS1 games. I haven't really picked up a whole lot of stuff recently. Over the year, I know I did pick up a copy of Alundra finally. Very Zelda-esque RPG again. That Working Designs logo gets me every single time. Keep going. More PS1 stuff. Backstreet Billiards. Let's head over this way. Take it down a shelf. And then, again, I haven't really added much to this. Monster Hunter Stories, I believe I had the last time. Now, this little box has got some random portable stuff. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Fall of the Foot Clan. I think there's also a couple of TurboGrafx 16 games in there. Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu is a fantastic platformer game, also available on the NES as well. Keith Courage, that comes with it. We'll get one more, see if we can get a Game Boy Advance game out of here. Sonic 2, yeah, it's okay. Like I said, I haven't really added much to that collection, aside from the TurboGrafx 16. That is something I picked up this year. Back to the Dreamcast stuff. I finally reacquired Star Wars Episode 1 Racer on Dreamcast. One of the best racing games on the system. Also great on 64 as well. But I definitely think its peak on the Dreamcast. Picked up the Marvel vs. Capcom, the original one, as well. Shenmue. Some random stuff like Quake 3 I think I picked up. Seaman, Shenmue 2. And we've come a long way as far as Shenmue goes these days. We'll get into that later. And then the original Xbox. Pretty decent little collection. Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks. I've picked up some decent stuff on Xbox. I got another copy of Panzer Dragoon Orta. I got it on a really steep discount because it's kind of like grimy looking up in the corner there. So, for better or for worse. And another great pickup, well, it's something I've had for a while, but Hunter the Reckoning. I have a newfound love for 4-player sort of couch co-op games, and Hunter the Reckoning is a sort of a isometric, Diablo-esque kind of a gauntlet sort of shooter, horror shooter. And we had a really good time with that a few weeks back. Picked up Godzilla, and I wasn't aware that this had become kind of a collector's thing. So the price has actually kind of gone up on it, so I'm actually glad I got it. I don't think it's that great of a game, but it's something nice to have, I guess. Dead or Alive 6, I think I picked up for $5 on Amazon over the holidays. Even though I've had these for a while, the Endless Ocean games are fantastic. They're little sort of underwater adventure scuba diving games. You get a pet dolphin, which is always nice. I named my dolphin Lunch Meat. He's doing okay. Wii stuff still. Yet another shelf. One lone Xbox One game in there for some reason. Oh, that's because I didn't even mention any Xbox One stuff. There's a tiny, tiny section of Xbox One stuff there, and that's why it's carried down to over here. I will point out, I guess, Halo Wars 2, I picked that up, same thing, really cheap over Amazon, so point that out. Back on track now, Onimusha Games. I reacquired Destroy All Humans, the original one, because seeing all the stuff about the remake coming out got me kind of stoked. So kind of curious to see how that one turns out. I really enjoyed the sort of the feel of those games. And then Sekiro, I love that game, but it is too hard. I got about halfway through and finally gave up. Beat God of War. Oh, I picked up Judgment. I haven't even opened it. It's still sealed. Again, picked that one up cheap off Amazon, and I'm really excited to sort of get into that eventually. And then the typical, still have Wii stuff. And I don't know if I mentioned Devil's Third before. I feel like I have, but it's a game on Wii U. It's a third-person action game made by the original sort of director of the Ninja Gaiden games on Xbox. And it was a much better game than people gave it credit for, but had an incredibly limited sort of print run. So it's kind of crept up in value. Picked up a copy of Time Crisis 2 recently for pretty cheap. Not much in the way of PSP games. I did pick up another copy of Dragon's Crown, so I own that game quite a bit now. And then I guess the biggest pickup would be Panzer Dragoon Saga. I picked that up. I had a trade slash paid for that one. It was a very unique circumstance, and I would have never bought that game full price. So I was glad that I was actually able to get it at a decent price. Some 3DO games there. I mean, I don't really know. I know that Way of the Warrior is just it is a completely tragic game. It's a fighting game. Such a ripoff of Mortal Kombat, but kind of almost so bad it's good. The Messenger was the story behind that one that maybe I'll get into one of these days. More Wii U stuff, and then Switch stuff as well. Also got the limited run Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, which I was really happy to get that. I think this is better than the actual mainline Bloodstained game that came out. Get back in there. And then Dragon Quest XI is just top notch on Switch. If you haven't played it and you're in the mood for a good role-playing game, don't sleep on that one. That game is fantastic. They did a really great job. And then this is sort of my main setup there. I got a sound bar up there. It's nothing fancy. And then TV, again, it's not even 4K, but it's big. It's got a good picture. And then typically the Switch, the PS4, the analog Super NT, the analog Mega SG, and the Xbox One X. The Xbox One X I actually picked up recently from the Xbox All Access. So I've got 2 years of live, came with 2 years of Game Pass, and that Game Pass is just an epic deal. It's great. I've done the best I could to sort of clean the wires up and cables back there, but it hasn't been completely successful. Spider-Man PS4. Not the easiest to see. And then my Switch. I have another dock upstairs for the Switch, so just in case I want to go upstairs and hang out and be social. Some comic stuff, some Street Fighter, some game stuff as well. That game console book is actually a pretty neat sort of visual and historical reference guide, I guess I would call it, for video game consoles. It's really kind of a neat thing. And then over here, some old guides, some like GamePro stuff. Check out, what do we got? Street Fighter Alpha. Weapon Lord, GamePro. Fix those later, but kind of neat. I picked up a few of those old GamePros. I haven't collected them or anything like since from the beginning. And then we have got NES Classic in carrying case, SNES Classic in carrying case, and then a couple of carrying cases for PS Vita and the Switch. And then a lot of these are just going to be sort of storage for stuff that I don't have hooked up right now. In here, there's a Dreamcast keyboard and, HD DVD player for the Xbox 360. This is usually where all the Starlink pilots and ships that I don't have on display are at. TurboGrafx 16 is in there. PlayStation 2, Xbox 360, the boxes for my analog systems, some random Nintendo 64 controllers. There's a few Star Wars toys back there, I think, as well. Toys to life sort of things. PlayStation 1 Mini with the LCD screen. This typically houses PSP stuff. PlayStation 3, Sega CDX, 3DO. Again, that was an impulse buy. Sega Saturn, Nintendo Wii U, and then got one of these funky PlayStation controllers for people with tiny hands, a Wii microphone, Retron 77, which is probably a pretty good, as good a way as any of playing Atari games right now, and then a bunch of PSP and memory card stuff as well. VMUs, I think, are in there. And then I hung that, I'm sorry for all the glare on these, but I hung that Fallout 76 poster up with the Mothman on it. I told you I'm obsessed with Mothman. That's not the last time you'll hear about Mothman. I hung that up down here. And then my bag from E3 2001, I believe. A couple of pins on there as well. There's a Duke. And then just random controllers, cables, accessories, that sort of thing. Picked up this nice little lamp a while back ago when it was on clearance. That was fun. Classic boxes, Super Nintendo controllers that they put out recently. More controllers. You got Master System games back there. I guess I picked up recently. Alex Kidd is something that I never owned before until this year. So I picked that up. I was pretty happy about that. What else did I pick up? I finally found a copy of Beyond Oasis, a very Zelda-esque sort of game, sort of Zelda / Prince of Persia. And I have really enjoyed that one so far. And then some Super Nintendo stuff I really haven't picked up. I don't think much in the way of boxed Super Nintendo stuff. And then there's some Nintendo 64 stuff hiding back there as well, along with some bongos. There's a red Wii. And then this is, I'll back up for a second. This is sort of the retro corner. So we've got a little bit more modern stuff over there. And then we kind of shift over to the retro corner. Notice the what do you call it? The wood grain is very reminiscent of all the furniture when I played games when I was a kid. So got a red Wii there. Then Dreamcast, Atari 2600, which is not hooked up, and then an Xbox, and then a GameCube with a Game Boy player, and then a Nintendo 64 as well. And then have a couple of Nintendo Reward Puzzle. Framed that and did that a while back ago. A promotional poster for Zelda as well. Mario Paint, I picked up this Godzilla figure because it's related to the art style in the Godzilla NES game. So if anybody's ever played that, that'll look familiar. Super Nintendo stuff. I finally picked up my first copy ever of Sunset Riders, and I've had a blast with that. I mean, I've played it 100 times before, but owned it when I was no, I don't think I even owned it. I think I just rented it. But I'm glad to actually have a copy that I can go back to anytime I want to. Picked up, I think, one Super Famicom game, and that was this Godzilla game. I got really stoked before the new Godzilla movie came out and just bought a bunch of stuff. That's like almost like a 2D Godzilla fighting game. Some Genesis stuff. Picked up a few things here and there. Ranger X has probably been the game that has impressed me most. It's a 2D action platformer, and It's got some weird physics to it, but some really good shooting action and some oddball controls. But once you get used to them, they're unique enough to be pretty entertaining. Some random NES pickups. And let me tell you, I picked up Gauntlet Legends earlier in 2019 after I made my last room tour video, and this game has gotten so much play, and I haven't even had a chance to put the label on it. But I had a game night a few weeks ago, and I swear we played so much of that game, it was out of control. And then all these other NES games, nothing crazy, nothing overly valuable, just stuff I've had since I was a kid or picked up recently because it just was cheap. Some Atari 2600 stuff. There might be a ColecoVision game in there or two. That's sort of my small little retro shelf. And then I've got this sort of thing that's got all my boxes for some of the collector's editions and consoles and stuff like that. The Nintendo Labo that I've never actually opened up, but I'm trying to keep as many boxes as possible, but I'm thinking about sort of decluttering a little bit and maybe getting rid of some of these boxes. Some of these stuff, like Owlboy is still in there. What else is up here? I don't even know. What is this? Oh, I picked up these extra large Joy-Cons, the Daemon X Machina themed. They're fine. But yeah. Ridge Racer 4 with the Jog-Con. And then some more collector's edition stuff. I bought that collector's edition of Sekiro. That game is just amazing, but damn, it's hard. Fuck. More stuff. Shenmue 3, the collector's edition. I never imagined Shenmue 3 was even going to be a thing, much less have an actual collector's edition. Everything's still in the box, though. I didn't really see a big need in keeping it out on display. I did an unboxing video of it if you want to sort of search back and see if you can find that to see what was in there. And some more stuff that's on the shelf here. The only Labo that I opened up was the VR, one of the VR kits with the gun, I guess, the cardboard gun. And it's okay. But that's about it. There's another Mothman. Another Godzilla. And that box is what the arcade 1-up Marvel Superheroes came in. And I got the Shazam figures. I just like Shazam, Captain Marvel. So I figured I'd pick those up as well. I did get a Google Stadia. Again, I hate to reference videos still, but I did another video where I just kind of ranted about Stadia for about 10 minutes. And it's okay. I like the flexibility, but at the same time, like, I'm not entirely convinced it's going to be around for a long time. We can start off with this table here. This is the first time I've properly displayed some of the portable systems that I've got, but this is my Pocket Station, Neo Geo, Pocket Color, PSP, PS Vita, some 3DSs of varying flavors. And then something I did this year too is we actually have like a little workbench set up. This isn't totally game related, but if I have to make labels for cases that I don't have, this paper cutter comes in super handy. And then every game collector, every gamer in general that messes around with cartridges should have a cleaning kit, an ability to sort of open up cartridges when you need to. And then I have a dehumidifier in here just in case. This is a basement. It stays pretty dry, but just in case, I want to be able to make sure that the humidity is under control. And these are a couple of paintings that I think I went over last time that me and the wife painted at one of those fancy wine/painting events. And then a Superman Returns poster just randomly thrown in. So that, I believe, is the entire game room. And of course, this is what it looks like now, so I can actually go through and shoot this video. But I will tell you that sometimes things get a little funky. Things get a little saucy. And sometimes the lights go out. And this is just kind of a quick look of how everything goes when the lights are off. I find that this is a much easier way to play, less straining on the eyes, and sometimes I've been known to fall asleep down here. So I think this about does it. I think that we have actually gone through and seen just about everything. I think this is actually everything that I own that's game related packed into one sort of neat gamer room package. So with that being said, we'll go back over and close this video out right now. So there we are, folks. That is my game room setup as it stands right now. I hope that you enjoyed going around and sort of see what I have done with this space. Thanks for getting to the end of the video, and I hope you found something interesting. If you saw something that you'd never seen before or you would like to know more about, feel free to go ahead and comment in the description box below, and I'll be glad to sort of get back to you and tell you what I've got going on right now. And in the future, you know, I think I've got I got a room for another arcade 1-up machine. I think that I would like to get that. They've got a Burger Time machine coming out that I'm reasonably excited about, although I'm still holding out hope for an Alien vs. Predator arcade 1-up or something as well, or potentially actually getting a full-size arcade machine, possibly a pinball machine as well, but those are a lot of work. A few games coming out this year that I'm really looking forward to, the rest of the Yakuza collection on the PS4, you know, Metroid, Bayonetta, if they actually come out this year, which they probably won't. What else have we got going on? Ghost of Tsushima is something that I'm really looking forward to as well for a long time now, so I'm really about ready to get into that game. And then, of course, new console launches at the end of the year. We're going to see how that goes, and I'm sure that I'll include those into my collection as well. On the retro side, I'd like to go ahead and pick up another Jaguar at some point in time. Why, I don't really know. Even with the modding scene that's happening right now and the games that are still coming out for it, it's still not really my favorite system. I think the controller is just atrocious. So, but I did kind of like the look of the Jaguar, so I may try to pick another one of those up as well. I don't have a Game Boy SP floating around for some reason, so I'd like to pick up another Game Boy SP. And I'd like to add to my Game Boy Advance collection and my sort of portable games collection. I'm not really into portable games anymore, but I feel like it's just an area that I'm sort of lacking. And there are a few titles when I was into portable games a lot that I would like to pick up and sort of add. It won't be as extensive as some of the other stuff I've got floating around, but still I think it'll be a fun chase. So that was it. Again, thank you for making it to the end of my video. If you like this content, then like and do the subscription thing. I would appreciate it. But I'm just happy you stopped by. Over the next coming months, up until May, my videos will be very sporadic. I'm finishing up grad school like a grown-up, and I am hoping that I can get that done with maximum focus and minimal distraction. Although most of my schoolwork happens down here in this room, so that's probably not the best setup for those goals. But that is where I'm at. So I'll be busy with that and work and other stuff too. But I fully intend on really getting back and hitting the channel hard with regular updates, a couple times a month whenever I feel like talking about something. But yeah, it might be a little sporadic. But if you subscribe, I promise that I'll make it worth your time. You can also check me out on @ButtonMasherChat on the Instagram. I still post pictures on there and talk about little knickknacks and doodads that are throughout my collection. And Twitter @TheOldRonin. No, @ButtonMasherChat. You can look @TheOldRonin is my personal. You can look at that. I do post on that sometimes. But ButtonMasherChat does have an official Twitter account as well, so you can look on there as well. That I think it's just @MasherChat, but you just look up ButtonMasherChat and you should be able to find it. Anyway, I'm rambling now. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you sharing this sort of experience with me. It was really cool to take everybody along and share what I have been able to accomplish with this setup, and I'm really proud of it. I'm really excited to sort of grow into it and sort of modify it, you know, in the coming years. And I hope you'll subscribe and sort of keep coming along on that journey with me. So thank you so much, everybody. Take care. Peace out.